Okay guys, we're back out here. We got some pistons, we got some rings hidden over here somewhere to be discovered. Oops, we're losing stuff all over the place. At this point, I'm going to check the fitment of the rings to the bore, make sure we're good before we move on. Okay guys, what are your feelings on this and why? Tell me what your feelings are. Okay, let's leave that over here. Okay, we got a package of rings out and the instructions just to confirm which one is the first and second one and stuff like that. If you remember, we got to go by the notch and notch, and that's a different type of ring that we don't have. So, okay, let's see what we got. Okay, when you're dealing with a bore like this, an old original bore, there's going to be some kind of taper. Okay, so basically we want to check these rings at their lowest point. So I come here to my chart for the 360 and my stroke is 3.44, and then I'm down. So I'm going to go down 3 3/3 of an inch down into the bore using the piston. To the top of the skirt to here is 3.5 inches, so I'm going to push it past. I'm going to use that to guide it in, and then go down about an extra 1/4 inch. Then I'm going to go down there with my feeler gauges, and we'll check the spec in our AMC book. So that's basically how much further I'm going down, about 1/4 inch. I use this, so I put it down gently. I use that because that's the squarest I'm ever going to get that ring in the bore. So now we'll remove this, and I'll go down there with a feeler gauge and see what it is. I want to know what it is here before I check my chart. Okay guys, we got it down there in the bore. Let's see if I measured correctly. Yeah, it's down 3 3/4 of an inch down, and I'm coming up with 18 thousandths. That's both the rings. I actually lined them up somehow. And top and center ring, they want 10 to 20, and I had 15 and 15 on the wagon motor. That's why I wrote that there. So, and then there's that stock in mode 1, and there's different modes for what they want. So, in here we were talking about piston pin offset. 6/62 thousandths positive. For mode 3 they want 20 thousandths negative, and for all out racing they want no piston pin offset. So, okay. And they give you, well, like I said, all the specs are here. All the specs are here. So, okay, see, 1 to 2 on the mains, and the rear one they want 2 to 3. We had 2, 2, 2, 2, and 3, which is nice. Maybe they changed a little bit as you start to get into real race engines. But we're trying to keep this one a little stock. Somewhere on the upper end, that'll be good if he puts a 100 shot to it. If the pistons and rods hold it. We'll see. Okay, they're also talking about the ring side clearance. Okay, the top and center they want 2 to 4 thousandths. This is a 5 thousandths. I mean, I see I have daylight now, so I can't get the 5 in there on either one of them. But I definitely exceed the 2 thousandths. I don't go down that low. So we're good. It just tells me the pistons are decent. So the better you can control the rings, the less they twist and the less they flutter. Because there is a point where the piston comes down and reverses and the ring doesn't move. And if the ring doesn't move, that's wasted motion from down to top also. So let's ring one of these up. Let's bearing one of these up. Let's slip one of these in. Okay guys, I coated the cylinder with the GM stuff. I coated the piston with that. I coated this journal. I coated the back side of the bearing. I guided it straight down. Obviously I guided it with my fingers. I don't have the extensions, so I got the block set. I even got it, they were numbered. And yes, I know where 1357 is in 2468. But sometimes you just lose track, and I know that's number 4 we started with, because that just happened to be the piston I grabbed. So, looking good. In the hole! Fire in the hole! Hopefully big explosion in the hole. Okay, I only bring these to like a couple of foot-pounds. like 5 foot-pounds until I'm ready to do it. And just so you know, before we start each one, we are wiping these journals again for any dirt that's settled on here overnight or however long you leave it. So that journal was fully cleaned again and recoated with fresh oil, as well as the bearing shells. Backsides of the bearing shells are dry. We have this lubricated. We're going to put more in there, and let's move on. Okay guys, we got a 4-cylinder. So I've been spinning it with this. That's an actual bolt in there, not the bolt. Okay, the bolt is somewhere. We haven't gotten to it, but you never grip it like this with pliers or anything stupid. And obviously the more you put on here, the stiffer it's going to get. It's actually the ring drag. We're good. Wrist pin movement. So let's continue on. Okay guys, we got an 8-cylinder. That's how messy it looks when it's all together. Stuff all over the place. Let's tilt the engine. Okay, we just have to do the final torque on those. They're probably torqued down to 5 to 10 pounds, if that. So they're all in there. As you see, I number them as I go along, just to make sure so you don't lose track. Everything does spin. Whoops. Okay. And that's good. There was one thing I wanted to show you guys. Remember, I was reading out of the AMC book the ring specs. They also gave you the ring specs and the instructions, and they want 4 to 6 thousandths per inch. Okay, so that's anywhere from 16 thousandths to 24 thousandths, plus that's a little bit bigger. So anywhere from 16 to 25 thousandths is what they want, is acceptable. That's what Grant says with their rings. So we're good. We're at 18 thousandths. We're fine. And I'm sure we're a touch bit looser at the top, so there's a slight taper, of course. But I mean, I only measure the difference in 2 thousandths. I find that is ridiculously acceptable for how old this engine is. Here's the rod bearings that were in it, because we were talking about bearings. There was only one set left. I guess all the other ones I tossed. A little score in it, but that was about it. They are American Motors bearings. See right there, American Motors. Dated. I saw the date on these things once before, I thought. Yeah, 1985. So, and the block says I think 85 on it too somewhere. 85 on this particular model. It was in an 86 Grand Wagoneer. I was right near the end. That was when Chrysler took over the best invention ever and ran with it due to marketing.